Everyone can use a confidence boost from time to time, and in this video I wanted to share with you my top 5 tips on how to do just that. Hey, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Nick and this is my channel, Nick's Mindful Tips. I'll have a bonus for those of you who want to stick around till the end. Tip number 1, internal validation.
Dude, what are you doing?
I'm looking for something. I can't find it.
You want some help finding it?
No, you can't help me find it. Oh, God. Oh, here it is. Many people tend to reach outward for external validation to feel good about themselves. But when you don't feel good internally, no external force can change that. Change comes from within. The only person who can ever make you feel good about yourself is you. When you post that picture on social media and you get all of the likes and comments, the only thing it's truly doing is diverting your attention away from your inner feelings. The dopamine rush that you get from social media is only a distraction. When the attention stops and your phone goes silent, how do you feel? Do you feel fulfilled? When the likes and the comments come to a halt, reality starts to set back in and those inner feelings are still in there. Internal validation is key. We need to understand that the glamour of hearing positive things from other people is only temporary. They don't change how we truly feel from within. We need to find validation from within ourselves so that we don't spend our lives fighting against it or hiding from it. Find ways to validate yourself without the need from an external force. You'll be really glad you did. And that will lead us into tip number 2, stay constructive. We all keep ourselves busy in one way or another, but is the time that we spend constructive? If you spend 4 hours a night binge watching a TV show when you get home from work, do you feel good when you wake up the next day about that? Find yourself a hobby that you enjoy doing, or if you have one, dive further into it. When we spend our time on things that we can look back and be proud of, the easier it is to feel good about ourselves. If you aren't sure about a hobby, even spending some of your time to improve your quality of life can go a long way. If your room looks like a tornado hit it, put some time and effort into cleaning it up. No one ever looked back at a day that they spent doing nothing and felt good about it. It's hard to feel good about yourself if you don't take the time to improve yourself. Read a book, go for a hike, do some research on a subject that you're interested in. There are countless things that you can do that are constructive, and half the time, if you're doing it right, it won't feel like you're going out of your way to do so. And that gets us to tip number 3, one of my personal favorites, positive affirmations. Positive affirmations are single-handedly one of the greatest ideas that humans have ever created. A positive affirmation is when you say a positive phrase either in your head or out loud, even in the mirror. For example,
You are beautiful.
What are you doing?
what are you doing? If I feel unattractive, I might look in the mirror and say, I am attractive. The mind is a very powerful thing, but it can work against itself if you allow it to. That voice in your head that tells you you're fat, you're ugly, you'll never be good enough, can destroy you if you let it. You have the capability to turn that voice into a positive one. When you tell yourself you're something more than you believe you are, with enough time and effort, you'll begin to believe that it's actually true. It may be awkward if you've never done them before, but it will get easier and it will feel more natural the more you practice them. I would also recommend listening to positive affirmations while you sleep. You can listen to them while you're awake, but it's actually more powerful if you do it while you're sleeping. You may not know this, but your subconscious mind is always listening, even when you aren't. Believe it or not, your subconscious mind is actually listening at its peak while you're sleeping, allowing you to absorb even more. And of course, this stays true for positive affirmations. There are tons of videos on YouTube for positive affirmations while you sleep. I would definitely recommend trying it out. And we get to tip number 4, self-reflect. When you look in the mirror, what do you see? In order for us to gain self-confidence, it is crucial for us to look inward. Without us understanding why we feel the way we do, it's impossible for us to know how to fix it. When an auto mechanic gets a car that doesn't work, what does he do? He looks under the hood to see what the issue is. We must do the same thing. Maybe you don't like your nose, or your height, or your curly hair. We must learn to accept the parts of ourselves that we cannot change. For example, I'm bad at math. My brain does not do numbers well at all. But on the flip side of that, I do have somewhat of a talent for writing. The sooner that we accept the flaws for what they are, the sooner that we can accept the parts of us that shine. Maybe you have insecurities that go deeper. You could be fine with how you look, but maybe there's something else that's happened that's made you feel really bad about yourself. Maybe you had parents that always said negative things to you, or maybe you had a partner that always beat you down. These are examples of things that can dig deep into us, especially if they were over a lengthy period of time. Something a lot of people don't realize is that no matter what someone has said to you or how they felt about you, those are their own feelings, and we don't have to accept ourselves for what other people feel. People often feel negative about others because they have insecurities from within themselves. It's a reflection mechanism that many people develop to cope with their own faults. Rise above what others have said and done to you, because at the end of the day, you are the person that you put out into the universe. You are not someone else's inner reflection casted onto you. No matter how you look or what experiences you've had, embrace every part of your being. We are all unique, and that's what makes us so special. And that finally leads us to tip number 5. Some of you might not want to hear this, but exercise. 6, 7, 8. Oh my God, will you stop? Exercise is a great way to boost self-confidence. Not only does exercise help you to look and feel better physically, but it has also been massively attributed to feeling better emotionally. Weightlifting and cardio help to stimulate the release of growth factors in the brain, which in turn gives a myriad of positive benefit, which include things like improved mood, better sleep, sharper memory, feeling more energized throughout your day, while also fighting against things like stress and things like anxiety and depression. The level of pleasure hormones also increases during exercise. Levels of dopamine become higher, which is attributed to feelings of pleasure, satisfaction, and motivation. Serotonin also increases, which helps regulate things like attention, behavior, and body temperature. Norepinephrine levels are increased, which is both a neurotransmitter and a hormone. When norepinephrine levels have been found to be low, it leads to conditions including anxiety, depression, and ADHD. The list of positive benefits from exercise really seem to go on without an end. Exercise also seems to have a direct correlation with higher self-esteem. Exercise is really just another example of how working on ourselves just has a positive impact on our lives. I said that I would have something for those of you who stuck around till the end, so here it is. Bonus tip: don't compare yourselves to others. The differences in everyone's lives vary wildly. Even two people who grew up in the same household have two completely different lives. Far too many people look at other people's lives and wonder why they're doing better than them, whether it be emotionally, financially, or physically. The reality is that we all go through different paths in life, and we end up in different places at different times. Just because Johnny down the road has a nice car and a beautiful wife doesn't mean that he's doing better than you. You are where you are because that's where you're supposed to be to get to the next chapter in your life. 10 years from now, you could have everything that you ever could have dreamed of and be feeling completely fulfilled. Meanwhile, Johnny's house is getting foreclosed on and his wife left him. How do you think Johnny would feel looking over at you comparing himself? It never makes sense to compare yourself to anyone. Stop worrying about others and start looking from within to get the most out of your life. That wraps it up. Let me know what you guys thought about my 5 tips to boost your self-confidence. And let me know in the comments section what you do to make yourself feel good. Later. Everyone can use a confidence boost from time to time, and in this video I wanted to share my top tip. Hey, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Nick, and this is my channel, Nick's Mindful Tips.